This is the Herd Line News.
So Derek Carr is entering a very interesting season with the Raiders, kind of make or break. Based on what some coaches told The Athletic, there is a perception that Carr may not have the mental makeup to make it under John Gruden. Quote, he is sensitive and needs encouragement, and that's not the style he's going to get, an offensive coach said. When someone shows disappointment in him, he shrinks. The head coach not coming out and completely endorsing him has to be eating him alive.
He is very sensitive. You know what's funny, Joy? He's very sensitive on Twitter. He'll follow, unfollow. He gets very sensitive on Twitter. He does.
You know, it's unfortunate what's happened with Derek Carr because he was looking like an MVP candidate.
I know, he was really
2016 before he got injured.
He's still got a whip. I mean, he can make throws.
He is talented. It just feels like nothing's ever really come together, and it could just be, you know, the Raiders are a football team and not a franchise, as LeVar was just saying. But the Antonio Brown thing makes this very interesting because we know that Antonio Brown is very demanding and he's going to want the ball, and you have John Gruden and all these personalities. The Raiders are going to be, if nothing else, incredibly interesting this year. I just don't know what to make of Derek Carr.
I think it's an incredibly fair question. You know what? You know what's funny? He has become, to a large degree, the forgotten quarterback. We name all these top 12 quarterbacks all the time. And I like Derek Carr. You ever notice? I think he's very similar to Tony Romo as a player. He can move, good arm, not a super arm, makes throws, can be pretty clutch. Occasional mistakes I don't love. But his brand right now, like you said, what is he? I don't think he has that signature win, that signature. I think we're still developing an opinion on him.
That's why I think this year is so important. But it's also, I think it was that injury because he was right there. He was right there on the edge of making that breakthrough, and then the injury just halted all of that. 2 years ago,
I was bringing him on the show, and I kind of felt like he was the next thing.
Right.
I mean, we were comparing him to Romo and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it was the worst timing for that injury to happen. So the latest NFLPA merchandise sales rankings were released this morning, and for the first time ever, 2 Browns are in the top 5.
Oh, boy.
Tom Brady is number 1, which I still don't understand. I just can't have enough Tom Brady jerseys, I guess. I don't get it. It's not a knock on Tom Brady.
It's been 18 Tom Brady years.
Right, they're very expensive. You don't use the same one you had 3 years ago.
It's at least LeBron's changing teams.
Yes, it makes no sense.
Like Derek Jeter. After 18 years, everybody in New York had a Jeter jersey.
You just get a new one? You spilled soda on it? Like, what happened? Odell is number 2. Which is not surprising.
Sam Darnold's 4?
Well, it's New York, so I guess that must be it.
Tip of the cap to America.
Because it's Sam Darnold.
He's ahead of Baker.
Well, okay, so yes, he is ahead of Baker, but 2 Cleveland Browns in the top 5. You know what this shows to me, though, with the Browns being the top 5? They're the youngest team in the league, and they're 2 huge personalities. So this doesn't surprise me at all. But
Sam Darnold surprises me on that.
Sam Darnold is surprising, yes.
4? He's the only guy in that list. And by the way, I love Sam, and I think last year he had to overcome bad O-line, bad receivers, bad backs, and a defensive coach. I'm surprised he's 4 because he doesn't have a huge personality, doesn't talk.
Dak is very low. Dak is 19. Nick Foles is higher than Dak.
No.
Yes. Nick Foles is 18.
That makes no sense.
No,
Nick
it doesn't.
Foles is higher than Dak. That is...
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's kind of these are the rankings. This is what people are buying, so it's accurate. But there's just a couple outliers in there that are strange. Sam Darnold makes sense to me just because it's New York.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But the Browns are going to be something this year. Wow. I feel like we're going to be talking about them a lot.
They'll be a good TV show if nothing else.
Yes. So finally, Floy Mayweather Jr. was in Vegas for Manny Pacquiao's split decision victory over Keith Thurman. He was at the fight, but that doesn't mean they're suddenly friends. Mayweather lashed out at Pacquiao boxing fans and analysts in a lengthy message on Instagram. He said, I find it real ironic how every time Pacquiao's name is brought up in the media, my name is always attached to it. This man's entire legacy and career has been built off its association with my name. And it's about time you all stop using my brand for clout chasing and clickbait and let that man's name hold weight of its own. When we finally fought, I won so easily that everyone had to eat their words, and the so-called boxing experts, critics, and jealous American fan base either went mute and ran for cover or made every excuse in the world as to why I should give him a rematch.
It's actually, it's pretty interesting.
He's
take.
not far off on the attachment. Their careers are kind of linked. But I would argue that Floyd Mayweather, while obviously his record speaks for itself, has some attachment to Pacquiao as well. It's not like you look at their fight and say it was all Pacquiao's fault that they didn't fight. Pacquiao responded and said, Floyd, you come to my fight and then use my name in a post, but I'm the one that's trying to stay relevant. If you want to be relevant again, hashtag #MayPac2. So he is interested in a rematch. The one thing I would push back on is that the jealous American fan base, Floyd Mayweather has done very little to keep his reputation in a positive space with fans.
That's on him.
With even just with the whole McGregor fight, like it felt like there were more people rooting for McGregor. Maybe because many wanted to see Floyd have a loss, but I'm not a Floyd Mayweather fan, so
I don't like. I don't like him personally. I don't like the things that he's done. I don't find his style consumable. I find him to be just a very listen. I'm not a boxing purist. I loved watching Thurman Pacquiao because I thought it was massive action.
Right.
We had a knockdown. It was there was a lot of theater with that fight.
There was dynamic.
It was a dynamic hour watch. I thought Floyd Manny was a yawn fest. I thought it was boring.
That's a fair criticism, and most people feel most fans feel that way about Mayweather fights, is that they're boring kind of runs. But a boxing purist loves it because he's the greatest defensive fighter of all time, and you can't argue with his record. He's never lost. Like it's perfection for a reason.
The Bulls were the greatest defensive basketball team ever, but they also had flair offense.
I mean, everyone watches Mayweather fights at the end of the day. He's a great salesman, so I'm not being critical of any of that. I just think there's kind of a brand association on both sides, and I still think that everyone would watch the rematch.
Of course they would. I'm a sucker for pay-per-view.
Yes.
Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Okay, Jane Slater last hour covers the Dallas Cowboys. Back in a second in L.A. It's the Herd.